Good morning. I thought I'd give a quick Wicking Tub update and show everybody how things are going. These are the summer squash. They're going well. We've got stuff happening here. They have really taken off now that the root system has gotten down into where the water level is and the oxygen level. They are doing really well. Everything is blooming. I've got pollinators working on them. Here's the zucchini. I have way too many plants for these tubs, but I was not sure how they were going to do. I didn't know how they were going to take off. I didn't know what was going to happen, so I planted plenty, and like I said before, I split. There were 2 seeds that had germinated in each little pot that I bought, and so I split them, and I got double what was going on. But in the future, I am going to get more of these troughs. I don't know, they're 140 or 100, whatever. They're worth it, I believe. They're big enough. The soil does not get too hot in there, and we are in some really hot temperatures here at the place I'm at. There's my first zucchini. I am so excited. We're probably going to harvest that tomorrow. It's about 6.5 inches, and we're going to harvest that and have that with some supper. Here's the tomato plants. Again, these are an early girl bush variety. This little guy I broke off at the root when I was planting it. I was a little too rough with it. And this, let's see, this is just, that was a perch I had some little marigolds that I planted, some seed from last year. I just thought, what the heck, I'll throw it in and see how it goes. But these are the tomato plants. I've got little tomatoes that are coming on. There's another one. If you peek right through there, there's a tomato. So these are starting to pick up. Again, as I've said, I had other stuff going on at the beginning of the season, so everything got put in late. So it really did take a hit in the just transition period of being transplanted, and then the heat was pretty overwhelming, but it survived. It's just a little delayed, but we have a longer growing season, so I think that they'll put on. I do have a shade cloth up over them so that they'll be all right. This rose bush actually blossomed earlier in the year, but then I transplanted it, and I think that I got its root ball too close to the fertilizer that I put down in there, and I think I burnt it, but it's coming on. Here's a marigold that was a volunteer that was in that rose pot, and it's really doing well. That was from last year's seeds, and it was a volunteer. Like I said, this is an echinacea that I transplanted and moved out here over a 1.5 years ago. This is one of my last remaining things that actually survived the move, as well as the rose bush, but that's about to bloom. So I'm super excited for that one because that's a hardy little booger right there. And then over here are the chili plants, and I'm not sure what they like or don't like about the wicking tubs. I don't know if I also got their root balls too close to the fertilizer. They're not really thriving, but they're not dying. I mean, they have chilies on them. They're blossoming. I don't know if they just dislike the shade cloth. They may. This little guy right here, actually, its original stem got chopped off by a chipmunk who decided he was going to have a chili plant for dinner one night. And so, yeah, these chili plants, these are giant, what are they called? Marconi. On this side is giant Marconi, and then on this side are jalapenos. And so we'll see what's going to come of them. We still got a lot of growing time. Not really blossoming too much. It's a hot booger out here. Here is an original trough that I used to plant in, and well, I should say not original, but this is what, since I've moved out to this country, been planting cucumber in here. The cucumber are starting to take off finally. This is a red romaine lettuce, and it's going to seed, and I'm going to capture the seed and save it and plant it. This red romaine is really hardy in hotter climates. It does well for longer before it bolts. But these were volunteer from last year, and so I just let them go, and I'm going to capture their seeds. Then I did random chili pepper seeds that I had saved. I have no idea what kind of chili peppers these are going to be. This is all so crowded. I don't know. I have carrot that is a volunteer from last year. I've got volunteer dill and seeded dill in here. Again, another chili plant. I have no idea what they're going to be. I just took them off of the plate I was saving them on and put them in the ground, and here they are. My dill is all blooming beautifully. Lots of little tiny pollinators on them, if you can see them buzzing around there. And so I'm excited about that. This trough, I will not plant in it again for food varieties because it requires a lot more water. It dries out really quickly. I can come home sometimes and the cucumber, everything's real limp and it needs a drink. So I won't do that again. Here I've got 3 of these tubs that have the patty pan squash or scallop squash, and they are finally starting to just pick up and take off. So I'm excited about those. They don't have any blossoms yet. They're just finally catching on. So that's really good. Over here's another patty pan, and then oh, there's a little lizard. I don't know if you can see him. He's on the base of the chair right there. Had my granddaughter, we set up a little pool. This is just like a 4-inch deep top of a pot with concrete in it for my shade cloth, so I put some flowers in there. Again, more marigold. I had chamomile to try to seed out in there, and it hasn't. So, oh, right there might be a teeny tiny chamomile that's coming up. They're a long time to germinate, and they're very fickle on what they do and don't do. So this is the green stalk. I got some flowers and planted in there along with some of the other things that were already in there. And then lemon balm. These 2 are lemon balm. This one's a mint. And again, those, I think I burnt the roots too close to the fertilizer. So these shallow troughs are not good to put fertilizer down in the soil. You gotta just do water soluble fertilizer in your tube and let it come up through there, because I didn't do a good job on that. Again, another flower one with a bunch of marigold in there. And then the last patty pan right here. So yeah, this is the update on the wicking garden up in 5,400 feet elevation of northern Arizona. And this is my trial run of wicking tubs, and so far I am super excited. The garden is actually picking up significantly, so I'm happy. The water that has been consumed through these wicking tubs is far less than the water through a traditional planter type of method. I put water in these. I've got some marigold seeded in the tops of these, and so I give them a little splash to top water, so that looks wet because it is. I just give them a little top water, but I'm not watering from the top to sustain these plants, so that is really good. My favorite is the big troughs. Those are really hardy. The plants look really strong even after hot days. I'm not having to refresh them with top water. They are reaching the water that's in the bottom of those troughs, and it is doing very well. You can actually see the weep hole where the water is running out right there. That's where the water runs out when I water through the tube. And so the water is only at that level, and then there's containers down in there making an air gap for those roots so that they don't get root rot. So I completely encourage this type of growing in any kind of climate, but especially in these hot climates that you lose so much water to evaporation. So have a great day and garden on.